Can you tell me how a mortgage works? Yeah. So a mortgage basically is it's basically a loan. It's a loan from a bank, right? And basically it's a loan where you pay that back over, let's just say 30 years. You can get 5-year, 15-year, 20-year, 30-year mortgages. Okay, and what happens is you get that loan from the bank, and there's two components to a mortgage. Okay, there's the interest you're paying and the principal. Okay, and so a lot of people get what are called interest-only mortgages, which is very dangerous because it's a loan. And what happens is as they pay up, they pay their monthly payments on that debt. They're not owning any more of their house. They're just paying interest, right? It's kind of a loser investment. But you can also get non-interest only mortgages. So let's say it's a 5% mortgage. That means that you have to pay 5% on that loan, every year until you own the house. Okay. And so over time, what happens is as you pay off this mortgage over, say, 30 years, you own a little bit more of your house or apartment, whatever it is, over time. And in some countries, like the United States, for example, you are allowed to deduct the interest on your mortgage. So let's say that your interest payments this year was $10,000 on your mortgage. And let's say that you made $100,000. And let's say the tax rate is 50%, just to keep it simple. So instead of you paying taxes on, paying $50,000 in taxes on the $100,000 you made, you're actually going to, and that's 50%, right? You're actually going to pay taxes on only $90,000, okay, not $100,000, because the $10,000 interest rate deduction you get. And so 50% tax on $90,000 is $45,000. And so by deducting the interest on your mortgage, which you can do in America on your primary residence, you're paying $5,000 less in tax in that hypothetical example. And most countries don't give you the opportunity to deduct the interest, but America, it's kind of like the the American dream is to own a house, and if they got rid of that tax incentive, people would freak out. Now, and that's one of the reasons why, by the way, we had the crisis in 2008 in America, because people thought, well, you know what, I can write off the interest of my mortgage, so I'm just going to get a huge loan, and there's issues too, like the credit companies turned a blind eye when people got mortgages they shouldn't have been allowed to get. Now, Canada, where I'm from originally, you can't do that in Canada. You can't deduct the interest in your mortgage. And that's why Canada didn't have a horrific bubble burst in 2008 and 2009 like the United States did, because people didn't take as much risk when it came to buying houses or apartments, because you cannot deduct the interest on your mortgage in Canada or in most countries outside the US. And so I remember even when I was a kid, I remember in the early 80s when there was a Fed chairperson at the time named Volcker, who made interest rates close to 20% because inflation was crazy then. And I remember my dad, because of that, mortgage rates were high too. My dad was paying 20% on a mortgage when I was a kid, and he just started his company, and it was stressful times. He was great at managing the stress, but it was stressful. But again, the bottom line is that Canadians didn't really take on that much risk when it came to houses or apartments relative to the United States, because you can't write off the interest on your mortgage in the United States, or pardon me, in countries outside the United States. And if you have additional questions about that, please let me know. And thank you as always. Oh, one more quick thing. So if you're younger and you're in America, and I'm sure a lot of countries work like this, take my complete personal finance course because I explain this gem to you in more detail. But you can get your mom and dad to give you money to help you buy a house. And you can get your spouse's mom and dad as well. So that's 4 sources, money to help you buy a house. And they get a tax break, and you get a tax break based on that. So anyway, you might want to look into that. Take my complete personal finance course for more details on that. And in that course, I teach you how to save, protect, and make your money work for you. I provide you with over 100 ways to save a lot of money as well.